Good morning. This is John from the Springs Mennonite Church, and I'm here at the end of this week where I've been talking about Hebrews. I hope you've gotten a few nuggets out of it. There are some really good stuff, and there's a lot more than what I'm going to cover even through today. So perhaps you'll take a little while and go back and look at the book. But today I want to finish up this week with just a couple of verses from the 11th chapter. And beginning here with verse 39. All of these people, now that's all of the people they've mentioned in Hebrews 11 who demonstrated faith, and there's a whole bunch of them in here. All of these people earned a good reputation because of their faith, yet none of them received all that God had promised. It says here that these guys, of which I said there's a bunch of them in here, were known for having faith. Well, what does that mean? How are you known for having faith? Well, I think it means that people recognize you as someone who shows faith in your life. Now, let's be honest. A lot of people have faith in a lot of things other than God. And some of you listening to me may actually blame God for what's gone on in your life. And if I knew all those stories, I wouldn't fault you for that. But yet, God works differently sometimes. I know people who have faith in their own abilities. They don't need anything else, they can do it themselves. I was told that COVID period created an opportunity for many people to do it yourself work around the house. And some of it turned out pretty good. And some of it turned out pretty strange. But nevertheless, there are many people who have many beliefs about many things that they call faith. This passage is talking about those who have their faith in God. Now, it's interesting here because it says all the people earned a good reputation. So, what does that mean? Well, it means that their life had been a testimony to trusting God. Various times along the way, various things that came up, they had demonstrated by their actions and their decisions that they trusted God. And so I start by asking, has your life done that? Now, we're not perfect, so don't think that I'm asking, have you always done it and never failed? That would be silly. I don't think there's anybody in that category except for Jesus. But has your life demonstrated to others that you're a Christian and you trust God? I remember years ago there was a politician who had become a Christian, and he said it this way. It came to the point in my life where I asked myself, if I were on trial for being a Christian, would there be enough evidence to convict me? And he decided there wouldn't have been. So he changed his life. So is there evidence in your life to convict you of being a Christian? God wants us to be like all these people. Like I said, there's a whole bunch of them in here who earned a good reputation day in and day out, trouble versus trouble, excitement versus excitement, great things versus great things. They all trusted God in the midst of it. And people could see that. And that's what God wants you and I to do. But he also says here, yet none of them, not a one, and Moses is included in this list up here. He's a pretty big shot in the way of faith. Yet none of them received all that God had promised. Did you hear that? While they were people who demonstrated faith, they still hadn't received everything God had promised. Too many people today think God is a candy man. He hands out candy. And if you ask the right way or live the right way, he'll give you a piece of candy. And too many people are happy to get one piece of candy, even though he may want to give you the whole bag. We settle for less than what God wants for our lives. Now, I don't know about you. I keep saying it that way because I really don't. But when you look at your life, have you received everything God wants for you? Well, I doubt it. In the first place, you don't even know what it is. So how could you say you got it all? But in the second place, this refers to a God who is constantly watching out for our benefit, constantly finding new ways to show us how much he cares. Now, I know there's some of you who don't really believe that. And if I knew your life, which I don't, I might not feel too differently than you do. I know there are a lot of people where a lot of things go wrong in their lives. Some of it's their fault. A lot of times it isn't. But that doesn't mean that God has abandoned you. He still wants for you the same thing that he says he has for these people who earned their reputation more than they've already seen. As we finish up this week and this time in Hebrews, I'd like you to think about something. It's really pretty simple. If you, as a caring person, now I'm going to assume that's who you are, but if you, as a caring person, want great things for those you care about, wouldn't God want the same and even more for you? Well, think about it. Thanks for listening this week. If you have a prayer concern or a need, let us know. We'll do whatever we can as fast as we can to help meet your need. I appreciate you spending the time with me. I'll be back next week with some other ideas. Until then, have a great weekend. God bless you. I'll talk to you again.